Secrets of Oakwood. Chapter 1. The Mysterious Inheritance. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a soft, golden glow over Oakwood, a town hidden between rolling hills and forests. Emma Thompson paused in the middle of the town square, taking in the familiar view she had loved since childhood. Oakwood was quiet, peaceful, and filled with stories waiting to be told. Now a heritage conservationist, Emma had returned to Oakwood after years of working in big cities. But as she walked along the old cobbled streets, she knew that this place was special to her heart. She smiled as she passed the familiar spots, the little bakery where her grandmother once bought warm bread, the library where she'd spent hours with her best friend, James. James, the thought of him brought back memories of running through the fields, laughing and climbing trees. They had always shared an adventurous spirit and loved hearing stories from Emma's grandfather, Grandpa Joe. Grandpa Joe had been her hero, filling her mind with tales of Oakwood's history and whispering about hidden treasures in town. Now, she missed him deeply. He had passed on years ago, but his words remained fresh in her memory. He had often told her that Oakwood's true treasure wasn't money or jewels, but its stories and memories. And so, Emma had returned, hoping to find that treasure, to keep Oakwood's history alive. One day, while helping her parents clean out Grandpa Joe's attic, Emma found a small, sealed letter with her name on it. Her hands trembled as she opened it, revealing her grandfather's familiar handwriting.
Dear Emma, if you're reading this, it means I have passed on, but my spirit is with you. I have something important to tell you about our family's history and a treasure hidden in Oakwood. This treasure isn't gold or silver, but something far more valuable. I hope you will find it, and in doing so, keep our family's legacy alive.
Emma's heart raced as she finished reading. What could he mean? A treasure in Oakwood? Could this be the same hidden treasure he used to tell stories about when she was a child? Determined to find out more, Emma called up her old friend James, who was now a freelance writer. Always curious and ready for an adventure, James was thrilled at the prospect of joining her in the quest.
Emma,
He said, his voice full of excitement.
this sounds like exactly the kind of story we've been waiting for. Let's find this treasure.
The next day, they met in the town square, just as they used to as kids. With Grandpa Joe's letter tucked safely in her bag, Emma felt a new sense of purpose. Together, they would uncover the secrets of Oakwood and honor the legacy her grandfather had left behind. Chapter 2. The Letter from Grandpa. The next morning, Emma found herself unable to sleep. Her mind buzzed with questions and possibilities. The letter from her grandfather was mysterious yet oddly comforting, as though he was guiding her towards something he'd always wanted her to discover. She dressed quickly and made her way to the attic, hoping to find more clues hidden among the dusty boxes and faded family photographs. As she dug through the attic, Emma noticed an old, leather-bound journal tucked between some books. She opened it carefully, revealing her grandfather's handwriting. The journal wasn't just a record of daily events. It contained sketches, stories, and cryptic notes about Oakwood's history. Her grandfather had dedicated much of his life to understanding the town's past, and it seemed he had left these pieces here just for her. Flipping through the pages, she found a note that made her pause. It read,
"In Oakwood's heart lies a story untold. Beneath the branches of the tallest oak, hidden are treasures of memories old, waiting for those who believe in hope."
The words sent a chill down her spine. Her grandfather had written this riddle as if he knew she'd one day be the one to solve it. Emma's mind raced. What could he mean by
Oakwood's heart? And where was this tallest oak?
She was too eager to wait. She grabbed her phone and called James.
James, you won't believe what I found.
She said, excitement in her voice.
Another clue.
James replied, sounding intrigued.
Yes, I found a riddle, something Grandpa wrote in his journal. I think it's a clue to where he hid the treasure.
Emma, this sounds incredible. Why don't we meet at the park?
James suggested, remembering the large oak trees scattered around Oakwood's Central Park. Chapter 3. Emma and James reunite. Later that day, Emma met James in Oakwood Park. James hadn't changed much since their childhood. His friendly smile and curious brown eyes still sparkled with excitement, reminding Emma of the countless adventures they'd shared as kids. Emma showed him the journal and the riddle, her fingers brushing over her grandfather's handwriting. James studied the words, his brow furrowed in concentration.
This definitely sounds like something your grandpa would write.
He said, grinning.
But where do we start? The tallest oak could mean a lot of things.
They decided to walk through the park and look for any oak trees that stood out. As they wandered, they shared stories of their childhood adventures and laughed at the silly things they used to do. It felt like old times, only now they were on a real quest with clues and mysteries waiting to be solved. After a while, they reached the park center, where a towering oak tree stretched high into the sky, its thick branches creating a canopy of leaves. Emma gasped. This was it, the tallest oak in Oakwood. As they stood beneath the tree, something caught Emma's eye, a small carving at the base of the trunk. She knelt down, brushing her fingers over the carving. It was her grandfather's initials, J.T.
Look, James, this must be it. He must have left something here.
Emma whispered, her heart racing. James knelt beside her, helping her brush away the dirt. Beneath a loose patch of earth, they found a small metal box. Emma carefully opened it, revealing a folded piece of paper inside. Unfolding the paper, she saw a map of Oakwood, marked with an X near the old mill on the edge of town. Chapter 4. The Old Mill and First Clue. The next day, Emma and James decided to head to the old mill, a place they hadn't visited since they were kids. The mill had long been abandoned, standing as a silent reminder of Oakwood's past. According to the map, there was something hidden there, something her grandfather wanted her to find. As they approached the mill, they heard the sound of footsteps nearby. Turning around, they saw a tall figure approaching them. It was Victor, the town's self-proclaimed treasure hunter. He had a reputation for snooping around Oakwood, always on the lookout for rare artifacts or valuable items.
Emma, James.
Victor greeted, a sly smile spreading across his face.
What brings you to the old mill?
Emma tried to stay calm.
Just taking a walk. The mill has always been a favorite spot of ours.
Victor eyed them suspiciously, but said nothing more. As he walked away, Emma and James exchanged a look.
We need to be careful.
James whispered.
Victor won't back off easily if he thinks there's treasure involved.
Inside the mill, they found an old wooden chest hidden beneath a stack of burlap sacks. Inside the chest, they discovered a collection of old letters and photographs, snapshots of Oakwood's history and their family's role in it. One letter, in particular, stood out. It was addressed to her grandfather, detailing a legend about a secret heirloom buried beneath the ancient ruins outside of town. Emma's heart pounded as she read it. She was getting closer to uncovering her family's hidden legacy, and she was determined not to let Victor stand in her way. Chapter 5: The Secret Heirloom. The letter from the chest painted a vivid picture of an ancient heirloom that Emma's ancestors had hidden, supposedly to protect Oakwood from those who sought power over its people. Her grandfather's notes hinted that this heirloom held symbolic value, representing the courage and unity of Oakwood's founders. Emma was both excited and anxious. Could the heirloom still be buried somewhere, waiting for her to uncover it? With the map and clues in hand, Emma and James set off toward the ruins outside town. The path to the ruins wound through dense woods, and the shadows of towering trees added an eerie charm to the air. They felt like they'd stepped back in time as they approached the site, where moss-covered stone walls and arches hinted at what was once a small but thriving settlement. As they reached the ruins, Emma noticed a strange marking on one of the stones. It was an etching of an oak tree, with roots extending deep into the earth. Beneath it was a phrase in Latin, cor unum, veritas una, which Emma recognized from her grandfather's journal. One heart, one truth.
James, I think we're close.
Emma whispered. She ran her fingers over the etching, feeling the faint indentations beneath her fingertips. James examined the area, his eyes bright with excitement.
If your grandfather left a trail, this might be the final clue.
Just then, Emma heard a rustling sound behind them. She turned and gasped. Victor had followed them. He stood just a few feet away, a triumphant look in his eyes.
Did you really think you could hide this from me?
He sneered, stepping closer.
The treasure belongs to Oakwood's true treasure hunter. Now, hand over the map.
Emma clenched the map tightly, her heart racing. She had worked too hard, and her grandfather's legacy was at stake. Just as Victor reached out to grab the map, James moved between them, blocking his path.
Leave us alone, Victor.
James said firmly.
This is a family matter, and it has nothing to do with you.
Victor's face twisted with anger, but he backed off, giving them one last warning glare before disappearing into the woods. Emma and James exchanged relieved glances, though they knew Victor would still be lurking, waiting for another chance to intervene. They turned back to the ruins, more determined than ever to find the heirloom before he did. Chapter 6: Beneath the Oak Tree. As they explored the ruins, Emma remembered the phrase from her grandfather's riddle, "In Oakwood's heart lies a story untold." She realized the answer had been in front of them all along. The ancient oak tree they'd seen earlier in the park symbolized Oakwood's heart. Emma and James hurried back to the park. They stood beneath the towering oak, studying its trunk for any sign of a hidden compartment or message. At last, Emma noticed a loose patch of bark near the base of the tree. She gently pried it open, revealing a small wooden box tucked inside. Her hands trembled as she lifted the box, opening it to reveal a golden locket with an oak leaf engraved on the front. Inside the locket was a miniature scroll wrapped in a ribbon. She carefully unrolled it, revealing a handwritten message from her grandfather.
To my dearest Emma, if you are reading this, you have found Oakwood's greatest treasure, the legacy of our family's courage, wisdom, and love for this town. This heirloom is not made of gold or jewels. It's a reminder of what truly matters, our history, our unity, and the strength that binds us together. May you carry forward our legacy with pride, protecting Oakwood and its people. Remember, treasure is not about wealth, but about what we choose to cherish in our hearts.
Emma felt a wave of emotion wash over her. Her grandfather's words resonated deeply, filling her with a sense of purpose and connection to her family and to Oakwood. James placed a hand on her shoulder.
Your grandfather would be so proud of you, Emma.
As they stood beneath the great oak, Emma knew that this journey wasn't just about finding a treasure. It was about discovering her family's legacy and understanding the true value of history and heritage. Epilog: A legacy preserved. Emma and James decided to keep the heirloom safe, sharing the story of their adventure with Oakwood's Historical Society. They worked together to preserve her grandfather's journals and research, hoping to inspire others to appreciate the town's rich history. In the weeks that followed, Emma felt a renewed sense of belonging. She'd not only solved her grandfather's puzzle, but also uncovered a legacy that connected her to her roots. The journey had shown her that while treasures can be hidden, the most valuable ones are those that hold meaning and unite people across generations. Victor eventually lost interest in Oakwood, unable to see the true treasure Emma had discovered. And as for Emma, she vowed to honor her grandfather's memory, carrying forward his love for Oakwood and its stories for years to come. Emma's journey was complete, but the story of Oakwood lived on, cherished and protected by those who understood its true worth.